guys, it's breakfast time, and that means we're going to try to cook something today that I cook all the time. And despite cooking it all the time, I never get it right, truly, never. I burn it, it looks gross, or it's runny, or there's something wrong every time. What is it? Scrambled eggs. Yes, I know, scrambled eggs should be fairly easy, at least to get to an edible state. I know there are plenty of chefs out there who have their own theories on the best way to make scrambled eggs, and they are intricate. I don't have that kind of time, so I definitely do not follow the rules that some of these chefs have set out, which is probably my first issue. But we're gonna go ahead and get started today. So the first thing we're gonna need is obviously eggs. I always get large eggs. I don't know if there's a really good reason for that other than I think that's what my mom always kept in the house, and I always feel like recipes call for large eggs. So what are the other sizes for? Let me know. Tell me if you know what the other sizes of eggs are for. Please let me know. I'm dying to know. I also use butter. I know that you are supposed to use something in the eggs, be it a dairy product, heavy cream, is that right? That might be wrong. Butter or oil. I personally go with butter, mostly because I always have it. But I just kind of like a buttery flavor to my eggs too, so it really does help with that. Hold on. Sanity. And I think the last thing I'm gonna go with today is I'm going to add some tomatoes. So I like tomatoes. I wanna put them in literally everything. And it's just a good way for me to try to get a little more nutrition into my morning breakfast. So we're gonna go for it. What? Really? All right, come here. So obviously you want to have a good clean cooking surface, and with my unruly brood of cats, I need to make sure that I'm wiping things down before everything I do. I could train them, but I don't. So the first thing we need to do is turn on the stove. Now, this is the part that actually always seems to screw me up the most. I can't get the settings right. I've tried. Every stove I've ever had, I have to relearn what medium means, what high means, what low means, and everything in between. And this is a pretty new stove for me, so I don't have it down yet. I think it runs hot, but I'm not really sure. So we're gonna turn it on and figure out if I can do this correctly. All right, guys, so I know that when most chefs do this, I think they keep it on a pretty low heat, but I'm pretty impatient. So I'm gonna try it, I think right about there. It's a little hotter than medium, and I've got my nonstick pan all ready to go. So this may have been my first mistake. I may have even knowingly made it. If it is, please let me know in the comments. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'm begging you. All right, and while that is heating up, we're gonna go ahead and get the rest prepped. I'm gonna do 2 eggs because I think that's right, not for really any other reason. I have heard that if you crack your eggs on a flat surface instead of a sharp edge of something, that they actually break easier, and I think that that's true. Again, I could be wrong. I am not the expert. Do not listen to me. But we're gonna do that right now. So I've got my little bowl right here. We're gonna do that. Right. And I will say, guys, that despite not being able to do anything else in the kitchen, I'm pretty okay at cracking eggs. I don't tend to get a lot of shells in there. If you do get a shell in there, I usually use the bigger shell to fish it out. I think there are tricks about putting water on your finger so that it attracts the shell somehow. I don't know that I've ever tried that, but if you have, tell me about it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is obviously scramble the egg. Get a good little whisk going. I think that looks good. All right, don't need these anymore. We do need some seasoning of some kind. I typically stick to like a salt and pepper, maybe something else, but really as good as I can get is salt and pepper, so that's what we're gonna do. My second problem is probably that I never measure anything out. I don't like to dirty more dishes, so what I tend to do is just kind of dump it. I'm gonna put like a little sprinkling on top, kind of like that. And then with the salt, I have gotten even lazier because I don't even put it in a real salt shaker anymore. I just open this thing and try not to kill myself with the amount of salt that I pour in. So I do it really gingerly and just kind of coat the top. I don't know how much salt that was. I don't know if I like it. If I like it now, I won't know how to do it again. And if I don't like it, I won't know how to fix it. So we're doing good. I'm gonna go ahead and scramble that up again. Mix that all through. And then I'm gonna set that aside for now because I want to slice up the cherry tomatoes, the grape tomatoes. These are not cherry tomatoes. They're kind of the same thing, aren't they? To do that, I'm gonna take a knife. This is probably not the right knife for what I'm doing right now, but I know that it's really sharp because I just sharpened it. Who am I? Ooh. These don't look great. They are a little... But I kind of have my heart set on it, so I think I'm just gonna fish out the ones that look okay, and we'll go from there. So I typically just slice them down the center. What do you think about this one? Nope. So I think that's actually probably all we're gonna do because I think those are all the fresh ones I got. Go ahead and throw those away. And then we apply heat. I typically pull my hand over the saucepan to see if it's hot. My mother used to throw water from her fingers and watch it sizzle, and that was the way she would tell if a pan was hot or not. It's a lot of effort for me, and it's just easier to feel the heat with the palm of my hand. Don't touch it, but you can definitely hold your hand over it. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the butter, and again, I don't measure, so we're just gonna cut off some of it and throw it in the pan to start. I'm about 100% sure that that pan is too hot, just by the sizzle. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the tomatoes that we cut because they take longer to cook to where I like them, and we're gonna put them in that pan, but we're gonna remove it from the heat and lower the temperature and hope that I can course correct before this goes totally down the tubes. So I have my tomatoes in the pan, but they're not facing the way I want them. Ooh. They cooked really fast. Get my little flipper over here. Turn those. Okay, that's good. This pan is definitely still too hot. It is not even on a heated element, and it is still sizzling. So we're gonna let that cool for a minute. Now, the only real thing that I absolutely know about eggs is that they cook super fast. So I think we've got it down a little bit more. We definitely didn't want to put the eggs right in that pan, but at this point, all of the butter is pretty much gone. So again, I'm not gonna measure anything. I'm just gonna take a little bit of butter and throw it into my pan. Give it a good swirl, coat that pan up. I'm gonna drop something. Now again, I don't think that this is right. I don't think anything about this is right, but it is what I'm doing. I think you're supposed to add whatever it is, the dairy element, straight to the eggs. I typically don't do that. Mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want to put something on the pan and in the eggs. It's just, I'm lazy. We've identified the problem. Before the eggs go back in, I am going to give them another quick little whip to freshen them up. I still think that pan's too hot. So I'm going to take back off the heating element. This isn't going well. Cool. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and dump the eggs in. Oh, it already looks bad. Okay. It's very brown, which I think is mostly due to the fact that I've had butter in this pan for a while now, and the butter was browning. So when I added the eggs, I just transferred that color straight to my eggs. That's not a super appetizing color for your eggs. But I am just kind of mixing this around, trying to scrape it and keep the eggs moving. That is fairly reliably a tip that I have heard. I know I've heard that some chefs actually let it sit for a minute and then they start to fold over the eggs. And then some actually do like some really fast scramble thing. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, so I'm taking two right options and making a wrong one. And it's not great, guys. It's really not. At this point, I think that the eggs are pretty cooked. I think they're pretty cooked. They don't look great. They don't. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my stove and then grab myself a plate. All right, folks, well, there you go. Those are my eggs. All that's really left at this point is to go ahead and try them. They look so unappetizing. I don't think they're gonna taste that bad. I mean, they're just eggs and butter and tomatoes. Like, how bad can they taste? But they don't look good. Anyway, let's try it. Salty. I like salt, you guys. I like salt, so I'm gonna be fine, but they are pretty salty, even for my taste, so I'm gonna eat it because I'm too lazy to make anything else. The tomato helps. Kinda. Well, there you go, guys. I attempted eggs. It didn't go that well. I promise that is actually the best that I can do. But I still wound up with brown, salty eggs that I wouldn't recommend you try on your own. You definitely can do this better than I can, so stick to the way you're doing it. Maybe give me 6-7 years to figure out what I'm doing before you try to replicate anything at all that I'm doing. And maybe by then it won't poison you. I have had a long time to acclimate to the kind of torture I subject my body to. You are not ready. But anyway, guys, please go ahead and subscribe if you want to see me mess up more of your favorite dishes. And please leave me a comment below with any kind of recommendations that you have, any criticisms. There are a ton to give me, so go ahead. This is the only time you'll probably ever hear someone asking for your criticism in the comments, but I want it. Bring it on. And please leave me comments that tell me what you'd like to see me cook next. Don't do it if you're looking for a good recipe or a good tutorial. Leave that on anyone else's channel, but go ahead and show me something that you want to see me attempt. All right, thanks again, guys. Bye.